Building on the framework presented in the previous slides, key steps can support a robust development impact assessment process. These steps can be tailored and adapted to specific country circumstances based on country-led design of the process. Stakeholder engagement is an essential aspect of all stages of the process. The DIA process steps will be elaborated in the next slides. During the initial stages of a DIA process, roles of key institutions are established and development priorities are identified to inform design of the framework and assessment. First, it is important to establish strong government buy-in for the process to ensure the assessment will inform government decisions and policy-making related to leads. Second, a technical institution within or outside of the government should be appointed to lead the process, perform initial analysis, engage experts and stakeholders, and ultimately present the results to key government decision-makers. Key stakeholders and experts to inform the analysis should also be identified early in the process, as their contributions are a critical element of the assessment. Moving on to the second stage, and as noted in other slides, the framework should be designed around priority development goals and key LEDS actions for the country. National development plans and related strategies can provide the basis for choice of impacts to consider. Complexity of the analysis required to assess certain impacts may also be a consideration in determining which impacts to include in the assessment. In the third stage, and based on framing and planning that occurred in the first two stages, the lead technical institution can begin to gather and review existing literature and analyses of impacts associated with LEDS actions. For example, studies on health impacts of transportation options and/or employment impacts of electricity generation options may already be available. In some cases, countries may wish to use analyses that draw from international data to assess impacts of LEDS options, especially where country-specific data may not exist. In some cases, the lead technical institution may wish to pursue new analysis related to a specific impact area. In these cases, the process timeframe will be longer to allow for the analysis to be performed and feed into the framework. The lead technical institution can also consider other key questions, such as how different groups might be impacted by LEDS actions, how impacts might change over time, and what the key trade-offs and synergies might be across actions and impacts. Based on this initial review of analysis and possibly new analysis conducted, the technical institution can develop a draft methodology to provide indicative impact scores for LEDS actions. Detailed annotations should be provided describing the scoring methodology for each impact, as well as the justification for the score of each impact and action pair. The graphics on this slide present an illustrative DIA framework. Under this framework, LEDS actions are given scores based on potential development impacts of most interest. As noted, these development impacts can be drawn from previous or new studies and analysis and through stakeholder and expert consultations. This framework provides the basis for prioritization of actions. As a critical underlying element of the DIA framework, this slide presents an illustrative scoring methodology table. Scoring methodologies can be developed by technical teams in-country and provide the foundation for prioritization of activities. Scoring tables should also integrate a column for citation of sources relating to the impact scores included in the DIA framework. It is critical to include clear citations and information to justify the scores that will inform prioritization of LEDS options. The example illustrative table used in this slide drew from analytical studies in South Africa to provide a framework for scoring technologies. For example, and based on the studies, energy technologies that could support 1 to 15 gross jobs per megawatt installed were considered to have a positive impact on employment. Technologies that could support more than 15 jobs per megawatt were considered to have a high positive impact on employment. These scores were based on a specific employment study prepared by the South African Energy Research Center in 2010. Scores given are very dependent on available analytical studies or other qualitative methods used to assess impacts. Thus, scoring methodologies should be developed by in-country technical teams to align with unique country circumstances. In the fifth stage, stakeholders and experts across sectors are convened to discuss the initial analysis and inform improvements going forward. Stakeholders from the government, academia, technical institutions, non-governmental organizations or NGOs, and the private sector can provide important information and insights to inform the assessment. This stage of the process is particularly important for DIA approaches that may rely on more qualitative assessment and expert opinion, as stakeholder workshops can be used to collect this information. Stakeholders can also provide information on data or analysis that may have been missed during the initial assessment that could inform the scoring process and/or new analysis that should be undertaken. Next, the technical institution can revise the DIA framework to include additional important data and analysis, assumptions, and other considerations. All revisions and information collected to inform the DIA framework should be clearly documented and referred to within the assessment. Based on the stakeholder workshops and improved analysis, actions can be prioritized based on the scores presented in the framework. In the seventh stage, a larger group of stakeholders can be convened to present the revised DIA framework and provide final validation of the results and prioritization. In some cases, further revisions may be needed based on stakeholder input. In the final and perhaps most critical stage, the findings of the Development Impact Assessment, including prioritized actions, are communicated to decision makers to inform LED's implementation, policy design, and investments. Cross-ministerial meetings can be arranged to present priority options based on highest positive development and mitigation impact, while also highlighting key trade-offs and synergies that may inform decisions. While these slides provide common steps that may occur during a comprehensive development impact assessment process, countries can design tailored processes that align with their unique goals and circumstances. We'll highlight Kenya's and Zambia's development impact assessment experiences shortly. Various complementary quantitative tools can support assessment of specific impacts and actions within the DIA framework. Using these tools, quantitative analyses can provide strong justification for impact scores included in the framework. The Development Impact Assessment Toolkit is a complementary resource that compiles various analytical tools that can be used to assess specific impacts of LED's actions and inform the framework more broadly. The toolkit is available on the LED's GP website, highlighted on the last slide of this training, and provides a comprehensive search menu to support users in finding specific tools to inform DIA processes and analysis. In countries where data constraints may limit the use of quantitative tools to assess specific development impacts, stakeholder processes and expert opinion can be used to support qualitative development impact assessment. In many cases, countries may use both qualitative and quantitative assessment to support DIA. The DIA framework supports this type of flexibility. Zambia offers one example of a country using both qualitative and quantitative analysis to assessment development impacts of LED's actions. Their experience is highlighted in upcoming slides.